Elon Musk, the man who dreams of colonizing Mars, has just received some shocking news. An unknown creature has been spotted on the red planet, and it has destroyed one of NASA's rovers. Scientists are terrified, and questions are being raised. What could this mysterious entity be, and how did it manage to evade detection for so long? Is this the first sign of life on Mars, or something even more sinister? Elon Musk has always been captivated by the idea of Mars, pushing the limits of space exploration with a bold vision to make Mars humanity's second home. However, recent discoveries from the Mars rover Curiosity have thrown a wrench into this ambitious goal, revealing mysteries that are reshaping our understanding of the red planet. Unusual sulfate deposits and eerie rock formations in Gale Crater's Gides Vallis are hinting at a potentially hostile world with a turbulent past. It's becoming clear that Mars may be hiding secrets that could challenge even Elon's daring vision. With these unsettling findings, the question looms larger than ever. Are we truly prepared for what Mars might throw at us? Mars has always been a source of fascination, hasn't it? A red, distant world that sits tantalizingly close, just enough to make us dream of going there someday, but still far enough to keep its mysteries hidden. Elon Musk has emerged as one of the most vocal advocates for Mars exploration, making it his life's mission to turn humans into a multiplanetary species, with Mars as the next great frontier. Imagine this. What if the Mars rovers have stumbled upon clues that force us to rethink our grand plans for the red planet? Recently, the Curiosity rover has been making its way through a place called Gides Vallis. If you're not familiar with it, let me set the scene. It's a winding channel on Mars, cutting through rugged terrain filled with jagged rocks and crumbling cliffs. This isn't some smooth, flat surface. It's a rocky labyrinth with curious deposits of sulfates scattered throughout. These deposits, especially magnesium sulfate, might not sound all that exciting at first, but they hold a pretty significant clue about Mars's past. The rover has been exploring a region known as the Meg Sulfate Bearing Unit. That's a technical way of saying this area is packed with magnesium sulfate mixed into the rocks, something that has some big implications. Why? Because scientists believe these sulfate deposits are tied to water. Not the kind of flowing rivers or vast oceans we have on Earth, but perhaps ancient lakes or seas that dried up millions, maybe even billions of years ago. And that, my friend, changes everything. It's wild to think about, isn't it? Now, let me take you deeper into the details of this mission. Curiosity is no stranger to Mars' rough and rugged terrain. This time, as it made its way through Gides Vallis, the mission was all about investigating some very intriguing rocks. Imagine this. You're driving through a rocky desert, and all around you, you see scattered chunks of stone. Some are white, others dark, some smooth, and others rough. Each of these stones has its own story to tell, and Curiosity, like a detective on Mars, is trying to piece together those stories one clue at a time. The team back on Earth had a solid 2-day plan mapped out. Their strategy was simple but critical. First, examine the nearby rocks, then move on to the next spot. Sounds straightforward, right? But when you're operating a robot millions of miles away, relying on remote sensing tools, every single step has to be meticulously planned. After all, we're talking about a robot exploring an alien world, and there's no room for error. One of the first spots Curiosity checked out was an area they named Paloma Meadows. But don't let that name fool you. It might sound like a lush, grassy field, but on Mars, names can be quite deceiving. Paloma Meadows is nothing like a meadow. It's a vast, flat, gray slab of rock, stretching out as far as the eye can see. The landscape at Paloma Meadows looks more like an alien parking lot than a picturesque field. It's as barren as it gets, no vegetation, just cold, hard rock under a dusty red sky. But don't let its stark appearance fool you. This plain slab of rock holds secrets that are worth digging into, and Curiosity was ready to uncover them. The rover did what it does best, using its ChemCom, a kind of laser gun, designed to blast and analyze rocks. Curiosity aimed its laser at the surface of Paloma Meadows, and with a quick zap, it could determine the chemical composition of the rocks by vaporizing tiny bits and studying the resulting plasma. Think of it as a high-tech rock analyzer, right there on Mars, slowly revealing the planet's secrets bit by bit. When the laser hit the slab, the data that came back offered a glimpse into the rock's makeup. What might look like just another gray rock on the Martian surface could actually be a time capsule, holding clues about what Mars was like millions of years ago. And curiosity didn't stop there. A little further from Paloma Meadows, the rover reached another intriguingly named spot, Sky Parlor Meadow. Unlike its name suggests, this wasn't a meadow either. But here, Curiosity spotted something different: dark rocks that stood out against the otherwise muted, dusty terrain. The landscape around Sky Parlor Meadow is a sea of muted, dusty tones until you spot these dark, unusual rocks. They stand out against the monochromatic terrain, and scientists are still scratching their heads, trying to figure out what they mean. Are they clues to Mars' volcanic past, hinting at a time when this area was shaped by intense volcanic activity? Or could they be something even stranger, maybe remnants of a meteor impact, or signs of a geological process we still don't fully understand? It's the kind of discovery that raises more questions than answers, making Mars feel like a place that's constantly challenging us to dig deeper. Curiosity's exploration isn't just about hopping from rock to rock. Each location, each slab, and each mysterious dark stone is a piece of a much bigger puzzle. Together, they add layers to the unfolding story of Mars. While Paloma Meadows and Sky Parlor Meadow may look barren and lifeless on the surface, they whisper of a past that was far more dynamic and perhaps even more dangerous than we ever imagined. As Curiosity moves from one spot to the next, it gathers clues that could help us piece together what Mars used to be, what it is now, and what it might mean for our future. Then Curiosity's cameras zoomed in for a closer look. You can picture it, right? The rover's mass-comm scanning the surface, its lens focusing in on every crack and crevice, searching for hidden details that might unlock more secrets of the red planet. Curiosity was busy snapping shots of these unusual rocks, trying to figure out what made them tick. But the real surprise came when the rover caught sight of what scientists call white clasts. These scattered white fragments might not look like much at first glance, but they could be the remains of ancient, water-rich minerals. And that's what has scientists buzzing. If these clasts were once underwater, it means Mars might have been a much wetter and potentially more hospitable place than we've ever imagined. But Curiosity wasn't just taking photos and blasting rocks with its laser. It was also checking out the atmosphere. Mars might look dead and barren, but its skies are anything but calm. Using its navcom, essentially its navigation camera, the rover kept a lookout for dust devils. Yep, Mars has dust devils, just like the swirling columns of dust you'd see in a desert back on Earth. These Martian twisters give scientists valuable insights into the planet's atmosphere, which, although thin and mostly carbon dioxide, is still active. Understanding how these dust devils work could be crucial for Musk's grand plans to build a colony there someday. But let's get back to the rocks. There's an area called White Bark Pass, where Curiosity found even more of these intriguing white clasts. Scientists think they might be connected to high sulfur deposits. If that's true, it could mean this part of Mars was once an evaporating sea or lake, hinting at a time when water was a key player on the Martian surface. Imagine a lake slowly drying up, leaving behind minerals scattered across the landscape. That's what these white clasts might be: remnants of an ancient lakebed on Mars. Isn't that incredible? It's like Mars is this ancient world frozen in time, with clues hidden everywhere about what it used to be. Curiosity then set its sights on a rocky outcrop named Pincushion Peak. The rover got up close, using its tools to brush away the dust and reveal the rock's surface. If you were standing there, you'd see a mix of nodules and rough textures rocks that are like time capsules, sitting undisturbed for millions of years, finally ready to share their secrets. By analyzing the minerals in these rocks, scientists can piece together a story of ancient water activity, hinting at a time when Mars might have been a very different place. As Curiosity moved on to its next target, it wasn't just the rocks that caught its attention. In the distance, the rover spotted some dark clast stones that stood out like shadows against the red Martian soil. Scientists believe these dark fragments might hold clues to Mars' more violent past. You see, Mars isn't just a dead planet. It's a world that's been through massive changes. Volcanic eruptions, meteor impacts, and who knows what else have all left their mark, and these dark clasts could be pieces of that puzzle. Now, here's where it gets a bit eerie. Scientists are beginning to think that these high-sulfur rocks, along with other strange findings, might be pointing to something bigger clues that Mars was once a far more dynamic and even chaotic world. These strange features suggest that Mars might be a pretty inhospitable place after all. Imagine planning to build a colony on Mars, only to find out that the soil is packed with toxic chemicals. That's a concern even Elon Musk has to take seriously. Sure, these sulfate deposits might mean that Mars once had water, but they could also indicate that the water left behind a dangerous residue. And as thrilling as the idea of finding life on Mars might be, what if what we discover turns out to be less than friendly? Curiosity's mission wasn't just about studying rocks. It was also keeping an eye on the Martian sky. We know how storms work here on Earth, but Mars has its own version, and they're a bit different. Mars storms are dusty, and they can grow so large that they cover the entire planet. Imagine a sandstorm that swallows everything in sight. Curiosity's Navcom was on the lookout, scanning the sky for any signs of these storms. It might sound like a minor detail, but it's actually a big deal. If Musk or anyone else plans to send humans to Mars, they'll need to know how to handle these storms. They could disrupt solar panels, habitats, and even the rovers themselves. Understanding them is crucial for any future missions. So that's where we are with the Mars mission. Curiosity is rolling through this ancient, rugged landscape, uncovering secrets and raising new questions at every turn. It's a journey through a planet that's both fascinating and unpredictable, and there's still so much more to learn. Curiosity is uncovering clues that could completely rewrite what we know about Mars. It's a powerful reminder that while Mars might be humanity's next big adventure, it's also a place full of unknowns. As much as Elon Musk talks about making Mars our new home, these discoveries serve as a stark reminder that Mars has its own agenda. It's a world with a history we're only beginning to understand, and it might hold more surprises than we ever bargained for. You might think that after Curiosity's journey through Giedi's Vallis, the story would be over, right? Not even close. The more Curiosity explores, the more it unearths mysteries that make Mars feel less like a welcoming new home and more like a strange alien world with its own set of eerie surprises. This is where things start to get a little spooky. We're not just talking about rocks and dust anymore. The latest findings are enough to make even the bravest scientists stop and rethink everything we thought we knew about the red planet. One of the most fascinating and frankly unsettling parts of Curiosity's journey has been its work at a spot called Pincushion Peak. Now you might be imagining a mountain, but it's something else entirely. Pincushion Peak isn't just any mountain, it's actually a rugged outcrop of rocks that starkly contrasts the barren Martian landscape. Picture this. Curiosity rolls up to Pincushion Peak, and its instruments spring to life, analyzing the unique rock formations. But these aren't your run-of-the-mill stones. They're nodular bedrock. That means they're covered in little bumps and textures that tell a story of erosion and weathering spanning millions of years. It's like reading a book where the pages are ancient. But here's the kicker. The textures and patterns in these rocks suggest something surprising. They point to sedimentary processes, which could mean that water once shaped these rocks. Think about it. Mars is a dry, dusty place now, but these nodules hint that it wasn't always like this. What if millions of years ago, Mars was a vibrant world filled with rivers and lakes, with a climate capable of supporting some form of life, even if it was just microscopic. That possibility alone is enough to send shivers down the spines of scientists everywhere. Yet, it also raises some serious questions. And that brings us to the dark-classed curiosity spotted in the distance. There's something almost ominous about these stones. These dark rocks are scattered across the landscape, appearing like shadows in the Martian soil, and scientists are still piecing together what they might be. One theory suggests they could be volcanic in origin, which would imply that Mars experienced some intense geological activity in its past. Another possibility is that they are remnants of meteor impacts, hinting that Mars has taken some serious hits over the ages. Either way, these dark clasts are like puzzle pieces that don't quite fit, suggesting a violent history we're only beginning to unravel. And the atmosphere? It's just as mysterious. At first glance, you might not think much of it, but Mars' thin atmosphere is full of surprises. During its mission, Curiosity spotted dust devils whipping across the Martian surface. If you've ever seen a dust devil here on Earth, you know they can be a little eerie, like tiny tornadoes of dust swirling up from nowhere. On Mars, though, they're even more intense due to the planet's dry, thin atmosphere. Scientists are fascinated because these dust devils indicate that Mars' atmosphere, while thin, is still quite active. But here's the catch. If humans ever set foot on Mars, they're going to have to contend with these swirling phenomena. It's just one more reminder that while Mars may be the next frontier, it's also a place full of challenges and surprises. Mars has a lot more to contend with than just cold temperatures and low oxygen. Its thin atmosphere also leads to some wild storms. The planet experiences massive global dust storms that can cover the entire surface. Imagine a sandstorm so colossal that it blocks out the sun for days or even weeks. For Elon Musk, this is a nightmare scenario. If we ever plan to colonize Mars, we'll need to figure out how to protect our habitats and equipment from these relentless storms. After all, solar panels would be pretty much useless if they're constantly buried under layers of dust. This isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a real threat to survival. And let's not overlook those sulfate deposits. Remember, we're dealing with high levels of sulfur here. While sulfur is pretty common on Earth, its concentrated presence in certain areas on Mars raises some serious red flags. Sulfur compounds can be quite toxic, and that's not exactly what you want to find in your soil if you're thinking about growing crops or establishing human habitats. In fact, the high sulfur levels suggest that Mars might be far more chemically hostile than we initially believed. For scientists, this is a major concern that complicates our plans for future exploration and colonization. This poses a serious dilemma because it means that any plans to terraform Mars or use its soil for agriculture would have to navigate some significant hurdles. Now, here's a somewhat chilling thought. What if there was life on Mars and it simply didn't survive? The possibility of ancient microbial life has always been one of the central questions in Mars exploration. If water existed on the planet, even in small amounts, there could have been microorganisms that lived and thrived millions of years ago. But with high sulfur levels and a rocky desert, a refuge for us if Earth becomes uninhabitable. But with Mars' toxic soils, brutal dust storms, and bizarre rock formations, that vision might be more daunting than we ever imagined. Welcome to Blessovia Science TV, where we take you on an exhilarating journey through the updates and awe-inspiring visualizations of the universe, live Q, and sessions with experts. Your membership will grant you the chance to participate in live Q and sessions with renowned scientists, astronomers, and space explorers. Get your burning questions answered by those who push the boundaries of human knowledge. Embark on a journey that spans the cosmos and join us in unraveling the secrets of the universe. Become a Blessovia Science TV member today, and together we will reach for the stars. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, and share. Don't forget to leave your comment.